Honourable Member for Castries South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, like most of my colleagues who have spoken before me, I did not intend to speak on this resolution. I thought that our political leader of the opposition raised some questions, and the member for Beaufort South asked some very pertinent questions. There was no mention of ministers' accounts. There were no accusations made. And we thought, as debates would go, that the Honourable Minister of Finance, when he speaks, would seek to answer the questions which were raised. Madam Speaker, a lot has happened today. It is 4 o'clock. And finally, Madam Speaker, you said what I was hoping you would have said since this morning, that the floodgates which were open should have been closed a long time. The member for Beaufort North, Madam Speaker, pointed out that there are young people out there watching us and expecting from us higher standards of behavior and conduct in the House. This debate, Madam Speaker, has degenerated. And Madam Speaker, what were simple questions on the resolution raised by the member for Beaufort South, Madam Speaker, led to the Honourable Member for Ancillary Canaries and the member for Castries South East to go down a road that was totally unnecessary. And Madam Speaker, the member for Dennery North used the word political hitman. And you rightfully, although I shouldn't say rightfully, in my view, I thought it was figurative language, asking to withdraw it because it was offensive. And before I say anything or describe anyone in any manner which might be offensive, can I ask for your guidance? Because if an honourable member of this House has said in public that he commits crime by himself and he sends nobody to commit a crime for him, should we consider him a political hitman or a criminal? How should I refer to him? Because if he says he commits his crime on his own and he sends no one to commit it for him, am I allowed in this House to refer to him as the criminal from Castries South East?
He said if he has to commit.
If he has to commit, that's what he said. I didn't hear the if part, but it was used. Oh, it was used.
Madam Speaker,
all right, Madam Speaker.
Point of order 34A.
34A is.
Madam Speaker, the member is saying that I said I am committing crime, and he is using the term figurative language. I was very clear that if I want to do something, I do it myself. I do not ask other people to do it for me. Or I do not pay other people to do it for me, to be more precise.
Okay. Okay, Madam Speaker, I accept the correction, and I will phrase my question differently. If an honourable member in this House says that if he has to commit crimes, he will do it himself and not ask people or pay them to do it for him, would you refer to him as a criminal, or would you refer to him as a political hitman? So I left out the word if. I will add it now. But the point is made, Madam Speaker. Because, Madam Speaker, and I am saying that to make the point, that in this honourable House, Madam Speaker, we may come and question whether persons follow the right procedures, the right processes, but, Madam Speaker, it goes a long way, Madam Speaker, to start suggesting that honourable members are involved in impropriety, especially when it cannot be proven. Madam Speaker, it can be proven? Well, Madam Speaker, if the honourable member says he can prove impropriety, which suggests corruption, which suggests dishonest actions, Madam Speaker, then he should provide the evidence, and I have not heard the evidence. But, Madam Speaker, let me take you back to where this whole journey started. In a presentation in this House, it was suggested by another honourable member that a member for Dennery North had an account in his name and that the honourable member was signing checks. That the honourable member was signing checks. The honourable member stood up and made the point that there is nowhere in any bank can you find any account in his name, Shawn Edwards, and that there can be no proof that he has ever signed any check from the national lotteries. This is how this issue started in this House. the honorable member did not say that there was not an account which was used for youth and sports purposes. He never said so. He never said so. And Madam Speaker, you are a lawyer. All the evidence that was presented by the honorable member for Grosley and Dennery South speaks of minutes of the national lotteries referring to an account that they termed the minister's account. Not one letter has been produced from the honorable minister referring to any account that he has deemed or he has named the minister's account. Those were names used by a third party. Honorable member, you are a lawyer. Isn't there something called a client's account in your office? Is that client's account owned by your clients?
Honorable member, here, it is not my place to be lawyer or use my lawyer's hat. I am an officer, so that is not my role to be a lawyer here.
Madam Speaker, when you ask the Madam Speaker a question in this House, you don't expect her to answer you. You're speaking to the public through the Speaker, through the presiding officer. So the point is, Madam Speaker, I won't ask you if you have a client's account. There are lawyers' offices, and they have accounts called clients' accounts. Are these... Okay, I've said to you, go and sue Richard Frederick. Go and deny that you tried to bribe the honorable member from Castries North with $5 million. But Madam Speaker, those accounts, Madam Speaker, those accounts, Madam Speaker, those accounts referred to as client's accounts is not owned by the client. It is for the purposes of your clients, for your client's business. There is no evidence that the member for Dennery North has ever referred to any account as the minister's account. It was in the minutes of the national lotteries. But Madam Speaker, let's go further. The minister said proudly, and the member for Grosley said he beat his chest. He said there was an account. It was used for youth and sports. It was used to finance activities that were of an urgent nature, that were needed in St. Lucia. And he said to show him evidence of any activity, any project that was funded under that account that was not related to youth and sports. Show him anyone. And listen to that, Madam Speaker. They claim that the account was opened by the Honorable Minister. But today, all of a sudden we're finding out that the account, the same account, was actually opened during the tenure of the member for Grosley North. I'm not saying it was he who personally directed it, or whether he gave instructions. So we do not know in his honorable house. But it was open during his tenure. But Madam Speaker, listen to this carefully. Listen to this carefully. Listen to this carefully. The honorable member finally admits it was open during his tenure. But he says it was open to put in monies for national lotteries games. That was the purpose. Listen to that, Madam Speaker. That was the purpose. I want the honorable member to say to me that the letter that was presented by the member for Dennery North asking for monies to fund scholarships, where were those monies deposited?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I wasn't running the lottery.
You're not listen to this, Madam Speaker. Listen to this, Madam Speaker. We must be really foolish in this country. As a minister, you wrote asking for monies to pay for scholarships. The monies were given to you, but you do not know as minister where the monies went to and which account it was placed in. And I suspect the minister, the member for Grosley, will also say he never knew what the money was used for. The money was placed in the same account. But Madam Speaker, what's even more illustrative, that letter was written 3 weeks before elections. 3 weeks before elections of 2011, the honorable member for Grosley writes a letter asking for money to pay for scholarships. The date is November 2nd. By then, the first semester of all universities is about to end. Follow me, Madam Speaker. Follow me. Universities open in July, August. So the semester is about to end. Exams are about to start. And the minister is writing a letter to the national lotteries for about $2 million. It's not stated there, but my information tells me it's about $2 million, so he can deny it if that's the case. To give scholarships 3 weeks before elections. Now that same minister, Madam Speaker, his basis for proving impropriety on the part of the member from Dennery North is that the act was, the national lottery was used for purposes which the act did not provide. Madam Speaker, does the Act provide for $2 million to be used to pay university education for certain people? When the Honorable Member for Grosley North claims that the minister was involved in maladministration and bad governance, when he requested that monies be put in the existing account, the account that he funded, the account that had $2 million.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order.
Now, Madam Speaker, can it be on a point of order?
Yes, it is. 35.5, where he's imputing improper motive. I never asked the national lotteries to put any money in any account. I never did. The letter he has before him clearly states what I did. I asked for consideration for resources to be provided for a number of scholarships. That is what I did. So I'd like the member to withdraw that statement.
Madam Speaker, I will repeat what I said. The Honourable Member for Grosley made a request for monies to pay for university education. And I asked him to indicate to us where were those monies deposited. He whispered he did not know. And I asked the Honourable House, that a minister 3 weeks before elections, when the first semester of university is about to end, is asking for about $2 million to pay for university education for certain people, and he does not even know if the money was given, where it was deposited, and how it was used. I rest my case on that point, Madam Speaker. If you say to me, that's what happened, Honourable Member for Grosley North, I am that foolish, I accept your explanation. Madam Speaker, let's continue. So, what's not the truth? I am asking you a simple question. You said you did not know. You did not know where the money came from. Okay, he did not know where the money came from, but he wrote a letter to national lotteries asking for the money, but he didn't know where it came from.
I didn't know which account it came from.
It's not account it came from.
You suggested it came from the same account.
Okay, Madam Speaker, let's continue. So, Madam Speaker, he is saying that the Honourable Member from Dennery North, was involved in impropriety, which suggests corruption and suggests actions which were of a dishonest nature.
Yes.
And on the basis of that is that he used National Lottery's resources. He unilaterally directed how it should be used. Now, I do not see how, even if you had established that he unilaterally decided on the use of it, how was that impropriety? And Madam Speaker, I ask the Honourable Member from Grosley to give me one instance, Madam Speaker, where any monies were used by national lotteries under the leadership of the member for Dennery North that can show it was not for a youth and sports purpose, Madam Speaker. I want him to show it to me, because I have confidence in my comrade from Dennery North. And if the Honourable Member from Grosley can show me one instance where monies were used for purposes other than youth and sports, Madam Speaker, then I will have to have serious questions with my comrade. Madam Speaker, that is where you prove your case, when he can show such, not when he quotes from the National Lottery's minutes, where directors of a board refer to accounts as the minister's account, an account that was opened before the minister then had even become minister. And when there is a letter, the same member for Grosley North, for Grosley, that says that the money should not be used for those purposes, he writes a letter asking for money for education purposes, Madam Speaker, $2 million, 3 weeks before elections, when the first semester of university is about to end, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member for Grosley says when he left office, he left $500,000. But did he inform the Honourable House that there were over $2 million in liabilities to WASCO, Lucilec, and no NIC had been paid?
Madam Speaker, again I rise on a point of order. 35.5, because the member here is misleading the Honourable House and suggesting something that is not accurate. There was no $2 million debt to WASCO or Lucilec by the National Lotteries Authority. That is incorrect. To use parliamentary language, that is not true, Madam Speaker. And I can use other words to describe what he just said there. And the member is making an argument based on falsehoods.
Madam Speaker, I will put it differently. Madam Speaker, I'll put it differently. The Honourable Member for Grosley says that when he left office, there was $500,000. More than that? You said 500,000. Okay, he said more than 500,000. I'm going to ask 500,000. I'm going to ask the Honourable Member to tell the House what was the outstanding liabilities when he left office. And I want him to cite the amount that was owed to Wasco, to Lucilec, to NIC. The workers at Beausejour and in the stadium were not even covered because the NIC were not being paid. Madam Speaker, the honourable member from Gozile can prove me wrong. The same way, Madam Speaker, he was able to cite all the documents from the National Lottery, and he has a file that is as thick and taller than me. He can go in that file and provide all the figures. What was the liability? I was about to say taller than another member, Madam Speaker, but you might have told me I was offensive. But Madam Speaker, can he indicate what were the outstanding liabilities when he left office? When he left office, because he's given the impression that there was such maladministration, Madam Speaker. And that's not the case, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, on a point of elucidation, I was asked to provide information as to what were the liabilities. I indicated that when I left office, we had over $500,000, and if I could get the document, I'll quote the exact figure.
The file, give me the file.
98 cents.
$696.92.
Right, and 92 cents. That is what I said, Madam Speaker. So his question has already been answered. That was the position of the National Lotteries Authority, who had no liability to Wasco or Lucilec.
Madam Speaker, maybe something is wrong with my memory. The honourable member from Gozile said how the member from Dennery North was boasting how he left behind all those bills. He said so, that the member from Dennery North, when he became Minister of Sports, was all over the place saying how all the bills he left behind that was not paid. Madam Speaker. Okay, Madam Speaker, this is becoming, it's become a little ridiculous now, Madam Speaker. So let me just end it, Madam Speaker. I tell you, go and talk to Richard. Madam Speaker, the honourable member for Dennery South made the point, Madam Speaker, that it is wrong for a minister to direct how funds should be used, Madam Speaker. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that is supposed to mean, Madam Speaker. I'm not sure. But the honourable members will recall that the amount of Taiwanese monies that were placed in their care, Madam Speaker, and there was a report on the use of those funds, but would come and try to be self-righteous and pontificate as to how money should be used. Madam Speaker, in the coming weeks, I think more and more, that story will be told, Madam Speaker. Just a matter of time, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, I believe, Madam Speaker, that what started off as a routine debate on borrowing, on simple points raised by the political leader, the leader of the opposition, and by the member for the Efforts Staff, was allowed to degenerate. And you know what it tells me, Madam Speaker? It tells me what's at the core of the individuals, some of the individuals on the government side. What happened today was totally unnecessary. It was totally unnecessary, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I join, Madam Speaker, out of an obligation to speak on behalf of my colleague from Dennery North, Madam Speaker, and to condemn the conduct of the members on the other side, Madam Speaker. Because, Madam Speaker, in the presentations this morning, there was no suggestion of any of the issues that were brought to the fore, Madam Speaker. You listen to the member from Library, the member for Castries East, the member from Beaufort South, Madam Speaker. It was not about this. But you listen on the other side, Madam Speaker, and then you heard how it degenerated. Madam Speaker, I really intended to speak on the Tourism Authority bill, so I shall reserve some of my energies for that presentation, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.